Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
You bet.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about HRT and some really surprising ways that it can impact the body.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at an essay by Jaime Hoerricks.
Okay.
She's a PhD, an autistic trans woman, and
Interesting combination.
yeah, and she details her personal experience on HRT. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah. So what's really interesting about this is that a few months in, she started noticing these
Yeah.
cyclical, like
Mm.
pattern of emotional and physical changes.
Oh, like a cycle?
Yeah, almost like a
no.
period, she says, but without the bleeding.
I see.
So imagine waves of emotions, right?
Yeah.
Energy shifts, even
Mhm.
cramping, coming and going,
Wow.
like in a rhythm, It's like her body developed its own.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So her body kind of like
Yeah.
developed this unique
Unique.
hormonal cycle. That's pretty mind-blowing.
Right. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
wild.
You know what's really interesting about this is that Hoerricks brings her perspective as an autistic person to this, which I think is so important. She has this this drive to understand systems and patterns, right?
Yes.
So these changes weren't just something for her to observe. They were a puzzle to solve.
Yeah.
She had to make sense of it.
You can really feel that in her writing too, right? It's like,
Oh, absolutely.
it's urgent. It's not just like curiosity,
Right.
It's about like understanding her sense of self in this new reality.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it seems like her emotions almost
Yeah.
became like more profound, like more layered. And her physical sensations kind of mirrored
Oh, interesting.
those emotional shifts.
So they were connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so let's get into specifics here. Like she talks about these intense emotional swings, uncontrollable crying spells.
Right.
1 minute, then
Oh, wow.
pure elation the next,
Sounds like a roller coaster.
A total roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
And she's very clear. It's not just like subtle shifts.
Right.
These are powerful, almost visceral experiences, she even mentioned. Like physical sensations alongside those swings, bone-deep exhaustion, like a feeling of heaviness.
Wow.
Almost like her body was carrying the weight
Oh, wow.
of those emotions.
That's intense.
Right? It makes you wonder, like, why?
Yeah.
Why hasn't this been studied more? It's like if Hoerricks is experiencing this, you have to imagine other trans women on HRT might be too.
Right. It seems like it's such a big gap in what we understand about trans experiences,
Yeah, and it's not like the information's just like readily available.
You'd think you could just
You would think, right?
Google it and find the answer.
Yeah.
But Hoerricks talks about how challenging her research journey was.
So what happened when she tried to search,
Yeah, it seemed like
It seems
she hit a wall almost immediately.
Immediately. Yeah.
Like she kept running into irrelevant or even harmful content. It's kind of a reminder of how algorithms, they
really.
amplify misinformation, particularly on sensitive topics.
Right. And so how did she finally find relevant research? Like how?
Yeah, she had to get really specific with her search terms.
Oh, I see.
Like using clinical language to kind of navigate around all the
noise.
Yeah, all the noise.
Wow.
So eventually she found studies
Yeah.
that touched on cyclical mood changes and hormone therapy.
Interesting.
But nothing that really directly addressed what she was experiencing.
It's amazing, though, that she just kept digging, even when the information was so scarce.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really speaks volumes about her commitment to just
Absolutely, yeah.
understanding her own body.
And that led her to this really crucial realization.
Okay.
The lack of research. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a reflection of a larger trend in trans healthcare.
You mean the way trans healthcare often prioritizes fitting into cisgender norms over fully understanding the spectrum of trans experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah, this focus on passing as cisgender,
right,
it can limit our understanding of how HRT might uniquely affect trans bodies.
We see that so clearly in Hoerricks' experience.
And it reminds us that trans identities are valid in their own right. Like their experiences deserve to be studied and understood without being forced into pre-existing frameworks.
I totally agree. And you know where this gets even more complicated is with how our culture frames periods.
Right.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, totally. Like Hoerricks points out, like discussions about periods often just
miss the mark.
Completely. Like they either downplay the experience or focus on the inconvenience.
Oh, yeah.
Like
it's a problem.
Like a problem. Or even the profit.
Right.
Rather than the actual lived experiences of women.
Yeah, think about how period products are marketed or how we talk about menstruation in society. It's like there's this emphasis on maintaining normalcy rather than acknowledging these profound physical and emotional...
Exactly. And this is even more problematic for trans women, right? It's like...
Oh, absolutely.
Their discussions about periods are often dismissed or even used as a weapon by some groups.
Oh, it's awful.
To invalidate their identities.
It's like a silencing tactic, right? Denying them the space to share their experiences and be heard.
And that's why Hoerricks sees this sharing of personal stories.
Right.
As so crucial in the face of this silencing, right?
Yeah.
She emphasizes how these narratives can be validating,
Oh, absolutely.
They can help build community, and they can challenge that narrow definition of womanhood.
Yeah, it's about taking back the narrative, pushing back against that erasure, right? By sharing their stories.
Yeah.
Trans women can create space for a more inclusive understanding of the human experience.
And it's not just about trans experiences either.
No, it's about broadening our understanding of the human biology.
Human biology, period.
Yeah.
Right? It's about how different bodies respond to hormonal changes.
Yeah.
We've got to break free from these limited ways of thinking.
Yes.
About bodies and experiences.
I completely agree.
Stories like Hoerricks.
Yeah.
Help us do that.
It's like she's saying, look, there's more to this story than you might realize, you know?
Yeah.
Let's explore it together.
Yeah. And it's valuable that she's not claiming to have all the answers,
Yeah.
She's inviting us to ask the right questions with her.
Right.
To be curious.
Absolutely.
And open to the complexities of the human experience.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah. This feels like a call to action to me.
I think so, too.
A call to acknowledge the gaps in our knowledge.
Yeah.
To be more inclusive
in
how we understand human biology and identity.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good point for us to pause and take a breath. We've covered a lot of ground here in this first part of our deep dive into Hoerricks' essay.
Absolutely.
We've explored her personal experience with HRT, her challenging research journey, and this broader context of trans healthcare and how we frame periods.
Yes. And in the next part, we're going to delve even deeper into the implications of all of this.
Yes.
What does this mean for research, for healthcare, and for our understanding of human experience as a whole?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. So as we go deeper into Hoerricks' essay, and I think it's important to kind of unpack this whole idea of passing that we talked about, earlier, this whole emphasis on fitting into cisgender norms.
Yeah.
It can create this hierarchy of trans experiences.
Interesting.
Where those who conform are seen as more successful or even more legitimate.
Wow. And that makes me wonder, does this focus on passing contribute to the research gap that Hoerricks encountered? If the primary goal is to help trans individuals blend in, then exploring the unique ways their bodies respond to HRT might be seen as less important.
It's definitely possible. It's like the medical community is saying, we're only interested in understanding your experience if it aligns with what we already know.
Wow.
And that limited perspective, it can have real consequences for trans people.
I mean, it feels almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If the research only focuses on certain aspects of the trans experience, those aspects become the dominant narrative. And anything outside of that gets overlooked.
Exactly. And that's why Hoerricks' call for more inclusive research is so important.
Right.
We need to acknowledge that trans bodies aren't simply variations of cisgender bodies.
Right.
They have their own unique complexities, ways of responding to hormonal shifts.
This makes me think about like the broader implications for healthcare. If we're not fully understanding the diverse ways trans bodies respond to HRT, are we even providing adequate care?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Without a more comprehensive understanding,
right,
healthcare providers might miss crucial aspects of their patients' experiences.
Yeah, like they
might misinterpret symptoms or fail to recognize patterns that are unique to trans individuals.
Which could then lead to misdiagnosis, inadequate treatment.
Exactly.
A whole host of other problems, right?
A whole cascade.
Yeah. It really underscores the importance of healthcare being informed by like the actual lived experiences of the people it's supposed to serve.
Absolutely. And that's where the power of narratives like Hoerricks come in.
Yeah, they really do.
They bridge this gap between the clinical and the lived.
Yes.
Offering insights that might otherwise be missed. Her essay does this remarkable job of like...
It really does.
Weaving the personal and the scientific together.
You're right. She blends her own like intimate experiences with this broader research and observations to make this really compelling argument.
And it highlights the importance of storytelling in driving change. When we share our stories, we make the invisible visible.
Fully.
We challenge those assumptions and force people to confront realities they might have otherwise ignored.
It's almost like she's saying, look, this is my experience and it's valid.
And it matters.
Yeah, it deserves to be acknowledged, understood, and studied.
Yes, and by sharing her story, she's not just advocating for herself, she's advocating for the entire trans community. Pushing for this more inclusive understanding of health and well-being.
And it's not just about demanding recognition either. It's about contributing to like a richer, more nuanced understanding of human biology. You know, her essay makes you realize that exploring the diversity of trans experiences could unlock new insights that benefit everyone.
It's about breaking free from those rigid categories and recognizing that human biology is far more complex and fluid than we give it credit for.
It's like she's saying, don't just study how I'm different.
Right.
Study how I'm part of a larger, more diverse human tapestry.
Absolutely.
And that message resonates far beyond the trans community.
It does.
Right. It's a call for a more holistic, inclusive approach to science, healthcare, our understanding of what it means to be human.
It makes you wonder what we've been missing all these years by just limiting our focus to such a narrow set of experiences. Yeah. It's a humbling thought.
Yeah.
And it speaks to this need for more research, more open-mindedness, a greater willingness to listen to
the voices of those who have been marginalized.
That kind of brings us to this other important thread in Hoerricks' essay. It's the way we talk about periods.
Yeah, how that impacts this entire conversation.
This whole thing,
She makes this really keen observation about how periods are often portrayed.
Right,
Like focusing on the inconvenience they cause men.
Oh, yeah.
Or like how they can be turned into this profit-driven industry.
Totally.
Rather than like on the actual experiences of women.
Women,
Right.
She even uses the word weaponized to describe how some groups use periods to exclude trans women from womanhood.
That word choice really captures the intent behind those arguments, you know?
It does. It really does.
It's about using this biological function to police gender identity. And deny trans women their agency and validity. It's a stark reminder that even something as natural as menstruation can be distorted and used for discriminatory purposes.
And that's why it's so vital to push back against these harmful narratives and reclaim this conversation about periods.
And Hoerricks suggests that sharing personal stories can be like a powerful way to challenge those narratives.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. By speaking openly about their experiences, trans women can disrupt those narrow definitions of womanhood that are often used to silence them. It's about creating space for a more inclusive understanding of what it means to be a woman.
Yes, one that embraces diversity. And challenges this idea that
biology is destiny.
Biology is destiny, It's about recognizing that womanhood isn't defined by a single set of biological characteristics, but by a spectrum, of experiences, identities,
expressions, exactly.
It's about moving beyond these rigid categories. Embracing the fluidity and complexity of human experience.
And that message has implications.
It does. It really does.
Not just for the trans community, but for everyone.
It makes you question those ingrained societal assumptions about gender and biology. Challenges us to think more critically about how we define ourselves and others.
It's a call for greater empathy, understanding, a willingness to embrace the full spectrum of human diversity.
I think that's a powerful message to carry with us as we continue exploring these ideas.
Absolutely.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore the implications of Hoerricks' insights for research, healthcare, and our understanding of human experience as a whole.
We'll delve into the potential for new discoveries and the importance of creating a more inclusive and equitable future.
For everyone.
So,
welcome back to our deep dives into Jaime Hoerricks' essay. It's been quite a journey, and as we wrap up, I'm really curious, what does all this mean for the future? What possibilities open up, when we consider everything Hoerricks is bringing to light?
Well, one thing that really stuck with me was Hoerricks' call for just more research, specifically, into how trans bodies respond to HRT.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. If we could really grasp those unique responses, who knows what kind of breakthroughs we might see.
It's almost dizzying to consider, could this change how we approach hormone therapy in general? Not just for, trans individuals, but could we discover entirely new ways to manage, hormonal fluctuations or even enhance well-being?
It's definitely possible. And, let's not forget the impact this could have on healthcare specifically for trans individuals.
Right.
Imagine a future where healthcare providers, they have this deep understanding of the diverse ways trans bodies react to HRT. We could see more personalized care, more accurate predictions of potential side effects, treatment plans that are really tailored to the individual, a medical community that just gets it.
It's the difference between this one-size-fits-all approach and recognizing that every single person's journey with HRT is going to be unique, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's really the future that Hoerricks is advocating for, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This future where trans individuals feel truly seen and supported by the medical community.
And it goes beyond just feeling supported. It's fostering this sense of partnership in their healthcare.
Right.
Where their experiences are valued and their voices are heard.
Absolutely. And it just really underscores how crucial it is for healthcare professionals to prioritize listening to their patients' stories. Right alongside, all the lab tests and clinical data. Those personal narratives, they provide this crucial context.
They really do. It's about weaving those lived experiences into the scientific process. That's what creates a more holistic and ultimately a more human approach to healthcare.
As we wrap up our deep dive into Hoerricks' essay, I keep coming back to this idea, and she's challenging us all to kind of rethink what it even means to be human.
Yeah, it's a profound concept.
It's profound, right. She's asking us to question all those assumptions we've inherited about gender, about biology, about our own bodies. It's an invitation to just step outside those comfort zones and acknowledge the incredible complexity of human experience.
And to approach that complexity with curiosity and compassion.
Right, yeah.
Not judgment.
Not judgment. And isn't that ultimately what drives progress, right?
Yeah.
Expanding our understanding, confronting those biases, and creating a more inclusive world, for everyone.
Beautifully said. Hoerricks' essay serves as this powerful reminder that even when faced with, ignorance and even discrimination, sharing personal stories can be the spark that ignites change.
It's true.
Stories like hers, they illuminate the path towards a brighter future.
So for everyone listening, our hope is that this deep dive kind of encourages you to keep exploring these ideas. Read Hoerricks' essay in its entirety, delve into the research she cites, and perhaps most importantly, just stay open to the stories and experiences of the people around you. You never know what insights you might uncover.
It really is a journey of discovery.
It is.
And one that has the potential to transform, not just our understanding of the world, but our understanding of ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.